Hello and welcome to Making with Scott. Today we're going to be doing a review on Bauer's Universal Lathe stand. So this stand is for mini to midi sized lathes. So it will adjust from side to side from 23.5 inches all the way out to 35.5. This Rikon lathe is actually 36. It does fit. There is no issues with that. It is really heavy. It's 44.5 pounds, and from the foot to the other foot is like 24 inches. The total is like 24.5 inches. It is very stable. It's heavy, it's stable. I'm very impressed by it, to be quite honest. As far as assembly goes, the main assembly, you get 12 bolts that have 2 washers and a nut on the end, so you don't have to match them up. There's 2 bolts to put the legs onto the vertical, and then there's 2 bolts to mount the horizontal slide onto the vertical, and then there's 2 more bolts to adjust the height. So you do those on both sides. There's 3 smaller bolts that will lock that tube in place. And it also comes with 4 smaller bolts and washers and nuts to mount your lathe. I'm sure if you have the Bauer lathe, it would work just fine. My lathe is this Rikon. It was the mounting hole. It's too thick, so I had to use some larger nuts and bolts. I've been using it for 2 weeks and haven't had any issues at all. I haven't even thought about trying to weight it down or anything. It's stable. Pretty impressive. The one thing it is missing is storage. I mean, you could always build a table and clamp it on the bottom, or use there's some holes, some mounting holes you're not using. You could run something out on those. What I decided to do was I measured my turning tools, and then I just made this plate. So we still have slots sticking out, so we'll be able to take this and put it into the slot. This is 6mm Baltic birch or 1/4 inch Baltic birch. I laid this out with Inkscape. After we mount this, I'll show you what I did. Then I just beat a carriage bolt in. This piece already had lamination issues, so that's the reason I used it. So, all right, so we'll just drop it in. So you can see here that I have 2 different size holes. The bigger ones are about a little less than 1.5 inches. They're like 1.4 inches. What I did was I took my gouges and I took my calipers and measured where I wanted them to sit. They will fit into the smaller ones, but with the larger one here, you have to be really exact in order to get it in. I just wanted a little extra slop in there. So that's actually a nice height for the tools. And since there's that 1 bolt, it can pivot. So if you're making something smaller, you can bring it in. Something larger, you can get it out of the way. It works. I'm very happy with that. I designed that with Inkscape. So the nice thing about Inkscape, besides being free, is that it makes a scalable vector file. So the SVG file, I sent this to a printer and I just printed it out on paper and then mounted the paper onto the wood, and then used a Forstner bit to drill the smaller holes, and then used a scroll saw to make the larger holes. And then I just went over to the router table and just put a round over on all the edges. But you could also send that over to a laser engraver or to a CNC machine, which comes in really handy. So I don't know if you guys want me to dig a little bit deeper into that, we can, but you could just take a piece of paper and just make a grid to lay stuff out. So sorry for the quick review. I don't know how else we can make it more exciting. It's a stand. It holds the lathe. It does a good job. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. When I bought it, I think it was $109. And I got it at Harbor Freight. And if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.